Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost.
Not My Problem. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem. So, Jen.
Hi, Kelly.
Would you like to tell our listeners
No.
how you almost had the entire Orlando Police Department looking for you last weekend?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No. Fine. So I was in Orlando last weekend visiting my other bestie. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
And we went out to a gay nightclub. And we were having a good time. We went out super early because, we're old as well. The nightclub was having an all-you-can-drink for $20 from 6 to 9 p.m. And I was
That's
like,
cool.
That sounds right up my alley, right?
Right.
It's early, all-you-can-drink, not a ton of money. Loved it. So we went out, and I was meeting Kristen's new boyfriend for the first time, Jared. Hi, Jared. I don't know if you listen, but if you do, I'm saying hi.
Hi, Jared.
I like Jared, so he got my approval. He got best friend stamp of approval, which is important.
Okay, well, then I will, for the time being, choose to like him too, because I defer to your,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, Kristen's too, but I know you better than I know Kristen, and I don't know Jared at all. So,
yeah. So anyway, we went out, and Kristen and I got there it was a little after 6 because we had an issue with the Uber driver. We got to the nightclub and started drinking. And I, tried a couple different things because I wasn't sure what I wanted to drink. And then we settled on margaritas because, they're delicious.
Margaritas sound great.
And the bartender there was amazing. I wish I remembered his name, but I don't. He had a very heavy hand, great pours, and got us pretty tipsy. So we're chilling out there. And the plan was, so we had a really big lunch at our favorite restaurant, Gukaku, which is a Japanese barbecue place. I was like, okay, we don't need to eat before because it's still really early. And they had a food truck outside of the nightclub, and it had hot dogs and tater tots. And I was like, that's perfect drunk food. So I was later they were like, oh, it doesn't open till 9, 10 o'clock. I was like, okay, that's fine. We go get food, and they don't have it. It's closed. They didn't open it for some reason, or it wasn't open yet.
Ah.
So then Kristen's boyfriend decided that we were going to walk to another restaurant nearby, that he's nearby. There was an argument on how long it was the next day because it felt like the longest walk of my entire life. And then we got to this restaurant and apparently got some kind of tacos. I may have taken a bite or two and then looked like I was going to pass out. So Kristen got me to the bathroom, and
that's where
somehow during this period of time, I had my phone and I text Kelly. Well, I text the group chat that I have with Kelly and Kristen that just said, please help.
Exclamation point.
I have no recollection of sending this text. None
Please
whatsoever.
help. Exclamation point. So I immediately sent a question mark, and I'm waiting 3 minutes.
And I'm assuming at this point I have my head in the toilet, so I'm not looking at my phone.
And I say, hello? And nothing. So I call Jen's phone, and she does not answer. And I leave her a voicemail, and I'm like, I need to know that you're okay, so I don't have to call your parents, the police, anybody I can to figure out where you are. And then I hang out with Jen's voicemail, and I call Kristen's phone, and I get Kristen's voicemail. And I leave Kristen a message, and I wait thinking I'll give them a couple minutes to try to listen to the message. And then I text, I need one of you to answer me now. And nothing.
We didn't.
Radio silence. At this point, I am now, it's probably been from the start to finish 20 minutes, 25 minutes, maybe. I'm like, that's way too much time for Jen to need help and not receive help. And I don't know if she's receiving help. I don't know if she's in the backseat of some stranger's car being taken to a second fucking location where we're going to find her body later.
Don't you have my location on your phone?
I checked your location.
Okay.
And you were at this Mexican restaurant place. I'm like, okay, where's Kristen? Did Jen leave where Kristen was? Is Kristen, and I didn't know Jared was there at the time. So I'm like, is Jared and Kristen somewhere else and Jen left to go to some other bar with some person that I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I do have Jen's location and I do have Google. So I am Googling Orlando Police Department, where I am going to send them Jen's location and a picture of her and say, my friend's in trouble. She texted me, please help. And I have not heard from her. And as I was picking up my phone to dial the Orlando Police Department, Kristen sent me a text that said, we're okay. We love you. And I was so angry. I couldn't.
Sorry.
I said, thank you for letting me know. And I texted a little bit with Kristen, and Kristen did text me when you guys got back.
I told her to text you before we went to bed. As we were crawling into bed after round 3 with the toilet, I said, text Kelly that we're home safe.
And I want it known too. It wasn't just me. I'm sitting there. Katie's in the living room. Rebecca's in the living room. I'm like, Jen's in trouble. She texted me, please help.
I'm so
and Kristen
sorry.
didn't say anything. Jen didn't say anything. So I got to do something.
No recollection of any of this. None. Like I browned out that night. If anyone watches Always Sunny, that's a Always Sunny reference where it's not like a full blackout. You remember bits and pieces, but a lot of it was very fuzzy and there were lots I didn't remember. At one point, now this I did remember while we were sitting there and I was not eating my tacos. We were outside and a cat walked by and I threw a taco at the cat because I wanted to feed the cat.
I love that.
Uh-huh.
So all I knew is that my best friend needed help and I couldn't get her to answer me. And I had no idea what was going on. And I was like, I got to get the police involved.
I'm glad that you have my back like that. I do apologize for scaring you because, again, zero recollection of sending that text. The fact that I even spelt it out properly. I mean, I know they're short words, but like I was not coherent. And punctuation.
Yeah. Like,
and I have no recollection. Like I usually look back at my drunk text and there's like spelling errors and shitty punctuation, autocorrect. But it was please help! !
Yes, it was. I myself have gotten drunk and done stupid shit. I understand. I'm not mad at you anymore.
Well, thank you.
But my anxiety level was so high that night because I didn't know if you were okay. And I thought, I can't let this go because I would rather call the police and have them find her throwing up somewhere than the next morning, Kristen texting me saying, do you know where Jen is? We haven't seen her since last night.
Absolutely. I think it's Morbid, that podcast I listen to, which is a true crime podcast. They always say it's better to overreact and have it be nothing than to underreact and have it be something.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. I am glad that I have a bestie like you that would do that. And I'm glad that I have a bestie like Kristen who took care of me and made sure I got to the bathroom and got home. And thanks to Jared for helping as well. I usually don't get like that. I don't know what I didn't eat dinner and I usually have a really, really good tolerance, but it hits you sometimes. Well, that was a very long scripted, unscripted banter.
It was.
But I have to keep y'all informed in what's going on in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to know. Jen's getting browned out drunk.
I got browned out. I'm sorry. I apologize. It won't happen again for a really long time. In fact, tonight is the first sip of alcohol I have had since Friday night last week. And it is Thursday because I realize you guys don't know that. It is Thursday. Right. So it has been almost a week.
It's Saturday night now.
It's Saturday night. It's been less than 24. No, it has been almost a week. And yeah, it's
okay. We all need times where we can get completely wasted, browned out, drunk, and have friends take care of us.
Yes, I did.
So.
Okay, are we ready to dive into today's episode?
Do you not have a question?
I don't have a question.
Well, I guess that was the scripted, unscripted banter.
That was it.
There was no scripted. It was just unscripted banter.
Completely unscripted banter. No question. I just finished this episode today.
Okay.
So I just forgot to go back and write a question. I'm sorry.
All right. Sounds
but
fine.
That's okay.
We're
just going to dive
What
right
are we talking about?
Okay, Kelly. Imagine walking down the street and locking eyes with yourself. Same face, same clothes, same expression, but something's off. They don't speak, they don't blink. And then, just like that, they're gone.
Is this a flesh pedestrian?
It is not, but we will talk about flesh pedestrians a little bit later.
Okay.
Throughout history, these ghostly doubles, known as doppelgängers, have been seen as omens of doom, warnings of disaster, and even signs of impending death. Are they spirits, glitches in reality, or is there a scientific explanation for why some people come face to face with their own twin? So grab a mirror, question what's real, and prepare for a deep dive into the legends of doppelgangers.
I would be terrified if I saw my face walking towards me.
I'm terrified when I see my face in the mirror, so I couldn't imagine seeing it anywhere
Do you
else.
do that too? Like you're looking in the mirror and if I look too long in the mirror, I get afraid that my reflection in the mirror is going to like turn its head in a way
Yes.
that I didn't turn my head.
Terrifies me.
Okay, good. It's not just me then.
Yeah, I've seen clips of that in like movies and things like that. It is probably one of my most irrational fears, is that my reflection is going to do something. Like, I have a weird thing with mirrors, and I've always heard that you shouldn't keep a mirror like across from your bed. So mine is as far not across as I possibly can in my very small bedroom. But unfortunately, it is still across from my bed. But I don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, my mirror's at the foot of our bed pretty much.
Mine's like off-centered, but...
Why are you not supposed to keep them?
I don't know. It says it's portal.
Oh.
Actually, and this just popped into my head, funny enough, but one of the things they say is 2 back-to-back facing mirrors is supposed to create a portal. Which
like
might
facing each
be,
other?
Yeah, which might be why you had the ghost of the full apparition of the man in your bathroom in your old house.
Maybe.
Because you had those 2 back-to-back mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to get into some fun facts first. So our fun facts are going to be about twins.
Oh, okay.
Because that's kind of like a doppelganger. Did you know that twins can have different dads?
Yes.
Oh, you're no fun. It's called heteropaternal
Exactly.
superfunctification. Yeah, superfunctification.
Functification.
I don't know. I don't know how to say it. But I'm going to stick with it. And it happens when a woman releases multiple eggs during ovulation and has intercourse with 2 different men in a very short time frame. Each egg gets fertilized by a different father, resulting in twins who are half siblings instead of full siblings.
Sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah, sounds like a great time.
Except for the getting pregnant part.
Yeah. She had fun while doing it, though.
Yeah.
Now, in India, there is a town full of twins.
The whole town?
It's higher birth rate. Kadinda, probably saying that wrong, a village in Karelia has an unusually high birth rate, over 6 times the global average. Scientists have no idea why.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Does it say if they're paternal or?
It didn't. Probably both, if I had to guess.
That's really interesting.
I didn't look that far into it. And then the last fun fact is there are these twins known as the Chavez twins from the United States, Vicky and Veronica Chavez. Both identical twins married twin brothers, Antonio and Alberto Garcia. They not only shared a unique bond with their spouses, but also had children, 2 sets of twins. The couple's children were technically cousins, but due to the unusual family dynamics, their kids share the same genetic connections as siblings, making them virtually identical. This case drew quite a bit of media attention because of the rare nature of both marriages and the twin offspring.
I have not seen twin offspring, but there is a reality TV show, something like Crazy Sisters or something, and there were a set of twin women who married a set of twin men, and they were talking about how their kids would be genetically siblings and then also cousins. Yeah.
That's insane. Pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to get into scary facts, and our scary facts are more psychological.
Okay.
Psychic phenomenon.
Phenomena.
Seeing people in two places at once. Throughout history, people have claimed to have seen someone they know in two locations at once. This is known as biolocation. This phenomenon
Phenomena.
has been reported by saints, monks, and even ordinary people. It suggests that reality may not be as fixed as we think, and sometimes we might just catch a glimpse of a version of ourselves from another place or time.
No, what's creepier than one religious garb person?
Two?
Two. Mm-hmm.
Two identical ones?
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Next fact is, with AI and deep fakes becoming much more sophisticated, there is a growing fear that we might be living in a world where technology can create a perfect duplicate of us. Our voices, faces, and mannerisms can be replicated so precisely that it becomes almost impossible to tell the difference. This has raised concerns about digital doppelgangers and the potential for being impersonated or replaced.
Yeah.
This happens all the time, I think, nowadays, just with like people doing AI videos of things.
I feel like somebody out there is going to be able to read the files to know that it was a replicated thing. That's what I tell myself. There's a smart computer guy out there that's going to be like, no, this isn't really them. This is
right. But then how many people are going to see it and believe it before that smart computer guy debunks it? I
don't know. That's just what I have to tell myself to be able to sleep at night. So I'm just going to stick with it.
The sad part is there are some videos of people's, either them or their voices really saying insane things, and people believe it because they say all kinds of insane things. So it's hard to tell whether it's AI or just that person saying insane things.
I feel that way every time I see a video of some of our recent politicians.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
I sent one to my brother the other day and I was like, is this real life? And he said, it might be AI, but it could also be him. And I was like, yeah.
I saw one last night that I don't know if it was his voice or not, but he was saying that we need to get rid of daylight savings time.
That's the one I just sent to my brother.
Is it? Yeah, because if we have to set the clock forward, Grandma dies early.
Grandma dies faster. Yeah. I read the comments and the comments were saying he actually said that. I didn't do any further research than that because I got bored. But
I don't even know what to do with that.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
No.
Grandma's dying sooner, kids.
Yeah, because the clocks went forward.
Yeah.
You're just killing Grandma.
You had 2 hours with her, but nope. Yeah. Lost 1 hour.
Because I'm sure everyone's spending time with their grandma at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There is also a strange psychological phenomenon. Where people who stare at themselves in the mirror for far too long begin to see subtle changes in their reflection. Sometimes the reflection appears to move independently, or the person sees distorted versions of themselves. This is linked to the Troxler effect, a kind of optical illusion where unchanging stimuli in your peripheral vision begin to disappear, potentially creating the illusion of a second eerie self.
Fuck that.
Nope, as we said
Don't
earlier.
Like it.
We're going to dive into the history and folklore of doppelgangers.
Let's do it.
So doppelganger is German for double walker. And it is a paranormal phenomenon. We're going to say that word a lot. Where a person sees their own ghostly twin or encounters someone who looks identical to them. This eerie occurrence has been a source of fascination and fear for centuries.
Question.
Answer.
Is it only a doppelganger if the person sees themselves, or can other people
can see it? You can see someone else's doppelganger, and we'll get into that in some of the stories later.
Okay.
Yeah. In Norse mythology, the Vardiger is a kind of ghostly double that shows up before a person does. It's like a shadowy version of yourself that is doing things you haven't done yet. People tend to see it as a sign or an omen, like a warning that something big is coming up in your life, or might also be a sign of danger. Sometimes this spirit double even shows up in everyday moments, like entering the room before you actually walk in. The Vartiger reminds us that there could be parallel versions of ourselves out there in other realities or timelines. It's like a supernatural reminder that there is a thin line between what we know and what is unknown, hinting that other versions of our lives might be playing out somewhere else, which we'll get into that more later. Then in ancient Egypt, there is the belief that the Ka, Ka, was a part of a person's soul. Now, the Ka is basically like a spiritual double, a life force or energy that stays with someone throughout their entire life. Unlike the body, the Ka wasn't tied to the physical world, and it could exist separately from the body and was considered eternal. The Ka was often shown as a figure that looked like the person and was believed to live on after death, making sure the person's spirit stayed alive. After death, the Ka would reunite with another part of the soul called the Ba to form the complete spiritual self.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. In the afterlife, the Ka was thought to continue living, keeping the person's essence alive forever. The Ka can be seen as an early sign of a spiritual doppelganger, a non-physical double that survives in both life and death.
Okay.
Which that sounds pretty cool.
I like that one the best.
Yeah, so far.
Yeah.
Then in German and Celtic folklore, seeing your doppelganger was seen as a bad omen and often thought to signal death. The appearance of a doppelganger, usually a shadowy or ghostly version of oneself, was believed to be a supernatural warning that something was seriously wrong in your life. In these traditions, the doppelganger might show up when a person was in great danger, or it could mean that the person was about to die or have already been replaced by a fake or malevolent spirit. I don't like that at all.
Don't like that? No.
No, not a fan of that. I think I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This belief is linked to the idea of soul theft or soul substitution, where a dark force might steal or replace someone's true soul. Also kind of sounds like possession.
What happens to the person's soul if somebody I
don't know. I wonder if it's similar to possession where it's like in there, still like struggling.
Just like suppressed?
Yeah. Or if it like leaves the body entirely and is like no chance of coming back.
Nah, I'm not a fan.
No, me neither. These superstitions stem from the fear that a person's soul could be taken or copied by evil forces, leading to their disappearance or death. So I guess that answers the question. I'm glad that I remember my research so well. In my defense, I did this part last week. It's the rest.
I was going to say, did you just do this today?
No, this part I had done last week. The link between doppelgangers and death became so deeply ingrained in European folklore that meeting your double was thought to signal the end of life, a dramatic shift in fate, or even the loss of your true identity to an imposter spirit. These mythological and cultural perspectives on doppelgangers highlight the deep-seated fears of parallel realities, spiritual doubles, and the fate of the identity.
Nope. Mm-mm. I don't like it.
No, me neither. Not a fan. So whether it's seen as a warning of death, a representation of the soul, or a message from another world, the doppelganger continues to intrigue people in both folklore and mythology, intrigue and petrify.
Yeah, seriously.
Taps into the unsettling idea that our very essence could be mirrored, replaced, or taken by something otherworldly, leaving us to question the nature of our own existence.
I can understand it being scary at first to like see yourself.
Yeah.
But I think the experience of seeing a doppelganger might be scary, but I don't know that I would be afraid of myself though.
I would.
It would be the situation. You would be afraid of yourself?
Well, because it's not me. It's never a good thing.
But I feel like that's how, like, I don't know what these things do, if they can like attack you or if maybe just seeing it. I feel like they might exploit that weakness of you seeing a familiar, like, I don't know what I'm saying, Jen.
Good. I don't either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I know it's in here. I can't get the words
Get
out.
the words out to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
The
That
more I
happens.
talk, the less it makes sense, but it makes sense in here.
Okay. Well, keep it locked away in your head then.
All right, fine.
Doppelgangers have been around for centuries, and they have appeared in literature and pop culture. From classic novels to modern movies and TV shows, the idea of running into your own double has been used to explore identity, self-reflection, and the darker side of human nature. Sometimes they represent inner struggles. Other times they're a supernatural warning. But either way, they fascinated and freaked out audiences for years. First one I'm going to talk about is Edgar Allan Poe's William Wilson, which I have not heard of. I will have to look it up. And
I don't know that I know that one either.
no, it is a short story where the protagonist encounters his doppelganger, a man who shares his name and appears throughout his life to torment him. The doppelganger is a symbol of the protagonist's consciousness acting as a mirror to his darker impulses and moral failings. The story explores themes of identity, guilt, and psychological torment. Of course it does, it's Poe, caused by the self's reflection in an otherworldly form. Yeah. I'll have to look that up and read it.
It's probably really interesting.
I'm sure I love everything by Edgar Allan Poe. So
yeah.
Then there's some more modern day movies and TV. Now there's a movie called Us that came out in 2019. It was directed by Jordan Peele. I have not seen it. Is it good?
I saw it. It's really freaky.
Okay.
Emily made us watch it. Emily always brings us the worst, freakiest. As a matter of fact, I can't remember the name of it now, but I'm going to get you the name of a movie that you have to watch. And holy shit, was it the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Okay. And it sounds good. So Us explores the terrifying idea of doppelgangers through the story of a family who encounters their shadowy doubles known as the tethered. These doubles live underground and have been forced to mimic the lives of their surface counterparts, leading to horrifying confrontation. This film explores themes of identity, class struggle, and the consequences of repressed darkness.
I believe there's a sequel called Them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen that, though.
I'll have to watch it.
It was a really good movie. It was interesting.
Okay. Then in the Vampire Diaries, which is a very popular supernatural TV series, which, again, I have also never watched.
Neither have I.
Introduces the concept of doppelgangers through its main characters, including Stefan and Damon Salvatore, who discover they are connected to an ancient line of vampire doppelgangers. Add vampire into doppelgangers and you just made it scarier.
Yeah.
This storyline plays with the idea of fated reincarnation and the psychological tension between two brothers who both embody different aspects of the same soul.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Then there is the TV show Fringe, which I never watched, but my parents did, and they liked it. In Fringe, the concept of doppelgangers is explored through parallel universes. The show's characters discover that alternate versions of themselves exist in parallel worlds, often leading to moral dilemmas and complex situations. The theme of doppelgangers in Fringe is used to explore how small changes in one's life can create drastically different versions of reality and identity. Yeah.
It would be weird to find like an alternate, like there could be alternate realities out there. We don't know, but to be able to find it and be like, oh, there I am. And
yeah, we're going to talk about those in a little bit.
Okay.
And last but not least, everyone's favorite, or at least Kelly and I's favorite, one of our favorites, Supernatural. Yay. Now, Supernatural has featured several instances of doppelgangers, from the shapeshifters who shed their skins to impersonate others, which is terrifying, the Leviathans, which is a powerful creature that perfectly copy people, and they also copied Sam and Dean, the two main characters. The show also explores the concept through topple doppelgangers, which is a ghostly figure created by belief, and the trickster's illusion, where warped realities force Sam and Dean to face distorted versions of themselves. Additionally, alternate universe versions of the characters appear in some episodes. Supernatural just did it all.
And they really did.
They really did. I mean, what, like 15 seasons? They did it all. They touched on everything. These eerie doubles add a layer of identity deception and the unsettling fear of being replaced. Now we are going to get into some theories and possible explanations for seeing doppelgangers.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
First, we are going to hit on psychological and neurological explanations. Doppelgangers are often associated with folklore and paranormal, but there's also some scientific explanations for why some people might believe that they have seen a ghostly double of themselves. Certain psychological and neurological conditions can create the sensation of encountering one's own twin, which these were just fascinating to read about. First, we have the Capgras syndrome, also known as Capgras delusion. Now, this is a very rare condition where a person believes someone they know, like a family member, friend, or even a pet, has been replaced by an identical imposter.
I used to think that happened to my parents when I was little.
No, they were just awful people.
It's a sad story. I used to think that the parents that loved me were replaced by these people.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. My face was like sad, and then I looked at my face, and then
it's really messed up. I know.
Kelly, I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be this funny if it wasn't for
That's
it.
True.
So, I guess I'll have to take it.
Trauma makes you funny.
That's right.
If anything else, gotta look at the plus side. Well, Capgras syndrome is a type of delusional misidentification, meaning the person has persistent false beliefs that a familiar individual has been swapped with a lookalike.
Oh, I have to tell you something. I have remembered something from when I was a child that made this worse.
Oh my God. How could it be worse?
I was in elementary school. I was young. I'm going to say 9, 10 maybe years old. And I was home alone. And the phone rang. I answered it. And somebody said, oh my God, Kelly, is that you? And I was like, yeah. And they said, I'm so sorry. They took you. We're coming to get you. We're coming right now. And I got so excited that my real parents, because I always had that sense before this call that like they must have been swapped with somebody. And then I got this call and I was so excited that my real parents were going to come save me. And those fuckers never showed up.
What was the call? Who called you?
I have no idea. No idea at all. But they were like sobbing on the phone.
Did you tell your parents about this?
No, I didn't want them to know that my real parents were coming to get me. Maybe it was like the alternate universe people calling.
Or maybe your parents were replaced by doppelgangers.
Maybe.
Kind of sounds like it.
Explains a lot.
Does. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, you made that sadder. I didn't know that was possible, but you did.
It's pretty crazy that happened.
It is really crazy.
Yeah.
That is insane. Well, Capgras syndrome is most commonly seen in people with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Lewy body dementia, as well as those with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or brain injuries. The main symptom is, as I said, the unshakable belief that a loved one is an imposter, even though they look and sound exactly the same. Capgras syndrome can cause someone to see doppelgangers because their brain fails to connect facial recognition and emotional familiarity. The person may recognize someone's face, but not feel emotional connection they once had, leading them to believe that the person has been replaced by an imposter or a doppelganger. This delusion can extend to loved ones, pets, or even objects, causing confusion or fear.
That's fascinating what our brains can do.
I know. And next, we have temporal lobe epilepsy, also known as TLE. And this is a type of focal epilepsy that starts in the brain's temporal lobes. It causes recurring seizures that can range from mild to severe and may include warning signs before the seizure, such as deja vu, intense emotions, or unusual smells. Seizures stay localized to the temporal lobes, and they lead to loss of awareness or consciousness. And or the seizures can also spread to other brain areas and sometimes causing full body convulsions. TLE can cause a person to experience doppelganger-like episodes due to the nature of the seizure that affect the temporal lobes, which is in the brain region that involves memory and recognition. Some individuals with TLE experience aurora symptoms like deja vu or intense feelings of fear or unease, which may cause them to feel like they've already experienced something or are encountering an altered version of reality.
I have heard that deja vu, what happens is your brain records something that's happening as a memory and that it's happening at the same time. It's like a misfire.
Yeah.
So while you're experiencing something, your brain is also storing it, like viewing it as also a memory.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But during a complex partial seizure, a person might lose awareness and exhibit strange behaviors such as interacting with a double or having distorted perceptions of people around them, leading to the feeling of encountering a doppelganger. These hallucinations or distortions can make individuals feel as though they are facing someone who looks like them, but is somehow different. Then there is good old pareidolia.
Oh, that's why we see faces in the trees that aren't there.
And shadows and window smudges. Yeah. Pareidolia is the tendency of the brain to see patterns such as faces, such as faces or familiar shapes in random or vague stimuli. This natural phenomenon can make people perceive things like faces in clouds, shapes in tree bark, or even figures in shadows. This is not a sign of psychosis, just throwing that out there, but rather an evolutionary adaptation that helps humans quickly recognize faces and patterns, which at one point, I guess, was vital for survival.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the case of doppelgangers, pareidolia could cause someone to perceive a double or an imposter in an unexpected place or situation, triggering a sense of familiarity with someone who isn't actually there or recognizing a familiar face where none exist.
Do you want me to blow your mind?
Blow it.
I've seen a doppelganger.
Your doppelganger?
No, my father's.
Okay.
I've been in my car.
This is before or after he died, because then that's a ghost.
After.
That's a ghost.
I didn't know ghosts could drive cars.
Okay.
I was driving on Ritchie Highway.
Okay.
Down by the mall.
Okay.
And I looked over and I saw the car next to me, the man driving. I was like, holy crap, that guy looks like my dad. Right. And then we both pulled up to a red light and I had my window kind of cracked and he had his window cracked. And he was listening to Simon and Garfunkel, which is what I grew up. My dad loved Simon and Garfunkel. And I just kind of looked over and I was like, I can't believe how much this guy looks like my dad. And he turned his head over and looked at me and he winked and the light changed and he drove off.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Now, either that guy was just like, hey, this person's looking at me. I don't know. But I was just completely blown away and then eventually lost the car in just the traffic.
I'm speechless.
So
you're blowing my mind all over today.
I know. At least this one's not sad.
It's
it was a happy thing.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, like my dad just wanted to say hello.
Going out for a drive.
Yeah. I've actually seen the same situation at a Walmart when I saw someone who looked exactly like my friend's father who passed away.
That's more likely a ghost to me.
He walked by me and it's like, maybe that probably, I could feel the energy, the familiar energy of that person. And I walked past him and it was like, because I loved my friend's dad.
Yeah.
And it was like, just walking past him, it was like I could feel the whole energy and the love and just like everything as I walked past him.
Yeah. I've never experienced any of that.
It's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of why I was thinking if you see something familiar, maybe it's not scary. Maybe that's what I was trying to say earlier.
Yeah, maybe.
It's not always scary.
I could see that. But if you saw yourself,
Yeah, that would probably get away from me.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, and then the last psychological thing, explain it, is cryptomania. Cryptomania is a phenomenon where a person mistakenly believes that an idea or memory is their own, when in fact it's something that they've previously encountered but forgotten. This can happen when someone recalls a past experience or image without realizing it's from an external source. In relation to doppelgangers, cryptomania might cause someone to think they've seen a person who looks exactly like them, when in reality, they've simply forgotten a previous encounter with that person or seen a similar face somewhere. This leads to the sensation of meeting a double without consciously recognizing the connection.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. And next, we're going to get into some scientific theories.
I like science.
Yeah, we're going to discuss parallel universes and quantum theories.
We're going to discuss quantum theory.
I'm going to tell them to you, and you're going to say some words about it.
Okay.
Because that's what happens
I was just like,
in a podcast.
Well, I was just like, if I'm supposed to have an understanding of quantum
I barely have
theory.
an understanding of it, and I'm the one giving you all the information. We are not scientists.
We're just going on the record here that we're not quantum physicists.
We're not.
That's all we're saying.
We're not even scientists in any sense of the word.
Not at all.
I'm just reading things that I found on the internet.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to listen to those things and then say words like she said.
Yeah. Some physicists propose the existence of parallel universes, suggesting that alternate versions of ourselves might occasionally influence our reality. And I think we kind of touched on this a little bit in the Mandela Effect episode, which I'll talk more about the Mandela Effect in this. But if you want to go back and listen to that episode, go do that, because we talked a lot about the Mandela Effect.
We did.
This concept aligns with the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, which posits that all possible outcomes of quantum measurements actually occur, each in its own separate universe. Now, what the fuck are quantum measurements? I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
But they all exist in their each separate universe, according to this theory.
Okay.
Recent advancements in quantum computing have sparked discussions about the potential existence of parallel universes. For instance, Google's quantum chip, Willow, lovely name, solved a complex problem in 5 minutes, a task that would have traditionally taken supercomputers an unfathomable amount of time.
So we're saying that somebody in a parallel universe already knew the answer to it?
So Harmut Nevin, leader of Google's quantum AI team, speculates that such computational feats might hint at a reality of parallel universes.
I want to know more, but okay.
I don't know more. I'm sorry.
I know, because again,
basic
we're not
information.
Yeah.
I could have dived even deeper into this, but we're a paranormal podcast, so I'm just touching the surface with these things.
Right. Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't understand it if we tried to read it.
I could just read you something from the internet, but that would be boring. So unless you're into that thing, but then go read it yourself. If there are indeed parallel universes, some physicists speculate it is possible that alternate versions of ourselves may exist in these universes. These alternate versions could be slightly or significantly different, and sometimes they might bleed or intersect into our reality. This could manifest as a doppelganger.
So maybe that's who I saw my dad.
Yeah.
Just my dad from a different universe.
Yeah. Think of it like the Doctor Who, where the episode where they went back and got Rose's dad from an alternate universe and brought him back into the other universe. Now, as I said before, Mandela Effect, we're going to talk briefly about that. So if you don't know, the Mandela Effect refers to instances where a large group of people collectively misremember specific details or events. The term originated from a shared false memory of Nelson Mandela's death in the 1980s, despite him passing in 2013. Some attribute these collective misrememberings to the influence of parallel realities intersecting with our own, which I kind of brought up to you in that episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am not a big believer in the Mandela effect, but Birdie has officially put me in my place.
Did she?
Our listener, Birdie, about the Mandela effect.
Really?
Yes.
What'd
Hi, Birdie.
say? Hi, Birdie. What'd she say?
She let me know in no uncertain terms that the Mandela effect is real.
Okay. Does she have a story to go with that?
No.
Oh.
She just told me I was wrong.
Okay.
And you were right.
Yes. Thank you, Birdie. Well, Birdie.
And who am I to argue with Birdie?
You can't argue.
There's a lot more about any of this stuff than I do.
Yeah, Birdie, if you have a story that goes along with the Mandela effect, please send it to us.
Yes.
So some believe that this could be due to overlapping or shifting timelines where events in parallel universes merge or briefly cross paths. These shifts could cause the appearance of doppelgängers or strange occurrences where people experience a version of themselves that doesn't seem quite right, or as if they've encountered someone who looks just like them. Essentially, the Mandela effect might be a symptom of reality glitches or inconsistencies across the universe, potentially leading to moments where you encounter a double. Then there is the idea of glitches in the Matrix, which this is very similar, but it's often associated with the Mandela effect and suggests that reality itself isn't as stable or solid as we perceive it. So basically, all these other universes are coexisting, and a glitch causes a big group of people to remember something one way from another reality, when in this reality, that's not how it happened.
Correct.
Yes. These glitches might cause fleeting moments where a doppelganger appears, perhaps a fleeting vision of yourself or someone else who looks exactly like you. These glitches could be caused by some kind of overlap or malfunction between parallel universes or alternate timelines, which in turn could result in experience a double of oneself. And now we're going to get into the paranormal theories because we're a fucking paranormal podcast. So
right. We understand these a little bit better.
Yeah, these make more sense to us. The first paranormal theory is astral projection gone wrong. So for those who don't know, astral projection is the belief that a person's spirit or consciousness can leave their physical body and travel to different planes or dimensions. I have never been able to astral project. I have gotten close, but I'm never actually able to make the separation.
I need you to explain that you've gotten close.
So when you're separating your body, at least in my experience, and from what I've read online, this is a lot of other people's experiences, because I was trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, and I was like, oh, I almost astral projected. Your body starts to vibrate. It feels like I don't think you're actually vibrating, but you feel it and hear it in your mind, the vibration. And then you feel yourself lifting, but I'm never actually able to separate. And one time I saw a blue string coming out of me. And as soon as I woke up from that, it was a nap. I was like, what the fuck was that? So I Googled it. And apparently that blue string is very common to see while doing astral projection. And I had no idea that was a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I've never been able to do it, but I have tried and I have gotten close.
I wouldn't even know how to try.
Most of the time when I try, I get nowhere. It's random times when I'm not trying that it almost happens.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to though.
So it's not like lucid dreaming.
No, this is different.
Okay.
This is if you actually astral project, the theory is that you're able to travel to other places. Birdie, hi Birdie again, has astral projected to you. Remember the time where you said I felt like Birdie was there, and she was?
I felt Birdie. I had a moment where I just said, oh, Birdie's here. And then Birdie told me that I was very intuitive, because then Birdie told me, without me telling Birdie that I felt like she was there, Birdie just told me I was intuitive because Birdie was here.
Yeah. which is pretty cool.
It was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Birdie can do it. Birdie teaches how to astral project.
Yeah. Birdie teaches everything.
All of the things, please.
All of them.
Please. So some paranormal theories suggest that when astral projection goes wrong, a person might inadvertently create a doppelganger. This spirit double could appear in the physical world either as an unintentional projection or as a haunting echo of the person's astral body. The doppelganger in this case could be seen as a result of the spirit failing to return to the body properly, causing confusion or a sense of detachment.
Now, I did not see Birdie.
Yeah.
I felt.
Yeah, I don't think you can usually see when people astral project, unless you're also astral projecting.
Oh,
and maybe.
Yeah, high five.
Yeah,
like
high
as
five.
You're going by.
Walking by. Hey. So as we said, in various cultures, doppelgangers have also been seen as spiritual entities or omens of some sort. Some believe that doppelgangers is a spiritual double that appear as a warning or a harbinger of a significant event, such as impending death or some other major life change. This view ties into the idea that these doubles are not a mere coincidence, but rather some type of supernatural manifestation that carry an important message or warning, often tied to the soul's journey or the energies around a person.
Okay.
Another paranormal explanation, and probably the most terrifying, well, I don't know. I get increasingly terrifying as I go on, is that doppelgangers could be malevolent spirits or entities attempting to mimic or possess a living person. These entities might take the form of a person's doppelganger in effort to deceive others or take over the individual's life force.
I have a question. Is a doppelganger and a mimic the same thing?
I don't know. I've always thought of a mimic as more not like a full-bodied person.
Just the voice.
The voice or like the noise. Like I know when we've seen it in Project Fear, it's always been voices,
like the music box.
The music. Oh my God. That episode still blows my fucking mind.
I know.
So for those who don't watch Project Fear.
How did you hear it in the tunnel if it was locked away?
Where were they investigating?
Oh, I don't remember.
It was someplace with tunnels, and they have this music box that's kind of like a REM pod, where it goes off if something gets close to it. But instead of making the obnoxious beeping sound, it plays a really creepy music tone. Really creepy. And this music box, they did not have on them. They had it back in their gear room, which was very, very far away.
Alex had it out earlier in the night.
Yes, they did have it out earlier. And then it got put away. And they were all four of them. And they're the only ones at this place investigating. They don't have camera crews or anything. It's literally just the four of them. And they're walking in these tunnels. And they hear the music box going off. And I'm literally getting chills just even saying it. Because that was
crazy.
Terrifying.
They left to confirm that all the music boxes were in the gear room, and they were. They
confirmed it. And then it came back. I think they did a 2-night investigation of that place, wherever they were. And it happened the next night, too, in a different location when someone was by themselves.
I know that at one point, Alex had knocked on the door, in a particular pattern.
And then later they heard the end of that pattern.
Right.
Which that's cool, but that's not as cool. The music box.
I've seen a video of a guy, and I have no way of knowing if this random video on the internet is real or not, but it was a guy in his apartment, and he was really scared because from his bedroom, his voice was saying, "Come here. Hey.
Oh, fuck that.
Come here.
Nope.
Come here. Hurry up."
Yeah. No.
I
don't like that. No, thank you. Okay. So as I said, we're going to get increasingly more terrifying with these theories. The next theory we have is that doppelgangers are simply flesh pedestrians. And if you don't know what a flesh pedestrian is, go listen to our episode on them. I won't say the real word because the real word invokes terror in a lot of people. If you Google it, I'm sure Google will tell you it's a pretty common replacement. But flesh pedestrians basically are tied to Native Americans, and they are malevolent beings that have the ability to take on human forms or mimic people. They're often described as shapeshifters who adopt the appearance of specific individuals to blend into human society with dark motives behind their actions. Flesh pedestrians could be responsible for certain doppelganger sightings, as they are believed to take on the form of an individual and replicate their appearance. This appearance can cause fear, confusion, and a sense of dread. Their mimicry can go beyond looks and even include gestures and speech, making the encounter even more unnerving.
So I don't know that I believe this one, because when we did the episode on flesh pedestrians, the way in which they were able to take the form of another being is they had to kill and skin that being.
That's
to wear
fair.
then the skin of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a doppelganger of someone you don't know is dead yet.
True.
Yeah.
But then I wouldn't recognize it as a doppelganger.
That's true.
Well, I mean, I guess I would if it was somebody I knew that I didn't know was dead, but.
Because if you saw me as a flesh pedestrian, you would immediately be able to tell that that thing is not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it said, please help, and then didn't answer me for 25 minutes.
Then you might think it's me.
Yeah.
You're just giving away all the secrets to the flesh pedestrians. In some beliefs, encountering a flesh pedestrian or seeing your own doppelganger could indicate that the entity has targeted you. So I guess some beliefs, who knows? But flesh pedestrians often depicted as malevolent entities, and the appearance of your doppelganger could signal the entity is preparing to replace you or harm you. These beings might use the doppelganger as a tool to sow discord or manipulate the human they are imitating.
Okay.
And last but not least, very similar to flesh pedestrians is just generic shapeshifters. So these are just a little bit more generic. They're not tied to any specific region, but very similar. They're the ability to change their form, often into animals or other humans. A shapeshifter might take on the appearance of a person to mislead others or cause confusion. They're often portrayed as tricksters or deceptive beings. If a shapeshifter adopts the form of someone else, their true intention might be to infiltrate society or manipulate those around them, often leading to fear and distrust. A shapeshifter posing as a doppelganger may try and replace the individual or cause confusion within their personal relationships.
So when we did the flesh pedestrian episode, we did learn that flesh pedestrians are only specific to Navajo Nation.
Yes.
But people all over the world have these experiences, and they would be
shapeshifters.
Those other experiences would be shapeshifters.
Or something else local. I'm sure there's other local legends that we don't know about, but
yeah.
Well, now we are going to get into some real life encounters and famous cases.
Well, I'm excited to hear about like real life things.
That's pretty terrifying. Across history, many well-known figures have had their lives marked by these strange, ghostly reflections of themselves. In some cases, the doppelganger's appearance seemed to predict a dire fate, leaving behind a legacy of eerie encounters that still linger in the shadows of our understanding. Take, for instance, Abraham Lincoln. Poor guy. He's all in the ghost stories. There's so many ghost stories about Abraham Lincoln.
Apparently he was a vampire slayer too.
Was he?
No, there's a novel. It's like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer or something. And they made a movie about it as well.
Hey, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
Well,
how do we know that's not a history book?
It could be.
That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's not any crazier than what's going on today.
You got that right.
In 1860, Lincoln found himself alone in his private chambers, staring into a mirror. As he gazed at his own reflection, something unsettling happened. Two versions of him appeared in the glass. One was his usual steadfast self, while the other appeared ghostly and pale, as though it had already stepped into the realm of death. Some have interpreted it as a premonition of his impending assassination.
Okay.
So he reported that, and I guess that's what people said. Years earlier, in the tranquil German countryside, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, the celebrated poet, had his own unsettling encounter. While traveling, he saw another version of himself walking ahead on the path. It was as though time had fractured and the figure was not merely a reflection, but a version of himself from a different time, behaving strangely and out of sync with the present. This unnerving experience led Goethe to theorize that it was a time slip, a glimpse into an alternate reality or a parallel timeline. This experience rattled him, leaving him questioning the very fabric of reality and his place within it.
Interesting.
Then there was Percy Bysshe Shelley. This doppelganger was said to be an omen of death. In 1822, just days before his tragic drowning, Shelley was reportedly seen in two places at once. His friends noticed him lounging near the lake, but at the same time, a perfect double of him was spotted elsewhere, behaving just as he would. The eerie apparition was thought to foreshadow his impending demise in the cold waters of the Bay of Spezia. Shelley dismissed it as a mere coincidence, unaware that his doppelganger's appearance was a supernatural warning of the doom that awaited him.
That's terrifying.
And then there is the chilling case of Emily Sage, a teacher in 19th century France, whose doppelganger was witnessed by her students in the classroom. No. Nope. As Sage taught her lesson, students reported seeing her double standing at the back of the room, at first mirroring her every move. The students thought it was a trick of the light, but the figure's uncanny precision and independent movement soon convinced them that they were witnessing something much more disturbing. The apparition seemed to have a life of its own, moving independently of Emily, and the students were left horrified. Emily, too, was shaken by the event, which became one of the most famous doppelganger encounters in history.
So could Emily see herself?
I think
too?
so.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's like one thing if you think you're seeing it, and it's like, am I going crazy?
Right.
Like,
and
what's going on with my brain?
Multiple.
But then other people,
Yeah. I don't like that.
That's really scary.
Nope. These eerie encounters share a common thread. The doppelganger often appears as a harbinger of death, misfortune, or the unknown. These stories speak to something deeply unsettling about our understanding of reality. The doppelganger is a figure that transcends mere superstitions. It represents the fragility of life and the thin veil that separates us from the unknown. Each of these encounters leaves behind a sense of dread, as though these figures, these eerie doubles, are not simply reflections of ourselves, but a reminder of the mysteries that lie just beyond our comprehension. In these moments, history's most iconic figures were confronted with a vision of themselves that offered no comfort, only unease, questions, and the chilling uncertainty of what lies ahead.
Okay, so if you had to see it, what do you think, besides yourself, what would be the creepiest doppelganger you could see?
Donald Trump.
I knew you were going to say
can't be
that.
two of them. Come on.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know yours. Or at least
I think you do.
think I know yours.
I'm going to write it down, and then you're going to say it. Give me a second. Okay, you say it.
Your mother. Yeah.
My mom. Yep. That's exactly what I wrote.
Yep. I know you.
Yeah, that would be kind of terrifying if there were two of her.
Terrifying. Unless it's the good one that's coming back to claim you.
Maybe.
Yeah, if you see a double of your mother, give her a chance for a second to see if it's the right one coming back to claim you.
All right, but I'm probably going to need my therapist to hold my hand while I do that.
Yeah, fair. That brings us to the end of this episode about doppelgangers. Whether they're omens of death, glimpses into alternate realities, or a strange supernatural occurrence, These eerie encounters continue to captivate our imaginations.
If you love what you've heard, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Your support helps us reach more listeners and share even more spooky stories.
It does.
It really, really does.
Yes. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at notmyghostpodcast and on Facebook at notmyghost, not my problem. We post a ton, and yeah, please just go follow us.
If you want even more ghostly content, consider joining our Patreon. We have some fantastic exclusive perks for our supporters.
We really do.
And if you've ever had a spine-tingling paranormal encounter, Katie, I'm calling my friend Katie out again.
Yeah.
For not writing that story in yet.
Write it in.
Write it in, and you can send that story, Katie, to notmyghostpodcast@gmail.com and everyone else. And you will hear it featured on a future episode.
You absolutely will. Thank you for joining us on this chilly.
Brr.
Thank you for joining us on this chilling exploration of doppelgangers. Remember, as you wander through the shadows of history and the unknown, keep this in mind.
If it's not your doppelganger,
it's not your problem.
Until next time, stay spooky
and stay skeptical.